Hello and welcome to the Phoenix Wisdom Podcast. I am your host, Janet Sandberg of janetsandberg.com. I am a soul interpreter, divine channel, Reiki master teacher, and intuitive coach with over 35 years of expertise who helps people connect to their soul's purpose and passions to rebuild your life with meaning and purpose. And this is my other passion. My soul's passion is to talk more about mental health, particularly suicide, because those of us who go through it feel so alone while we're there, and we're not. And this podcast is kind of there to prove it that so many of us go through this. The people who do are not alone. We're just normal human beings who are going through some shit. And that's it. But it gets better. It gets better. And today, sharing her story with us is Carla Hooker. Carla, welcome.
Thank you, Janet. I appreciate this opportunity to share and to hopefully help someone out there who feels like they're suffering alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to get us started?
All right. Well, now I'm known as a kids dance specialist. I also wear many hats. I'm a caregiver. I'm a pageant coach. I'm an author with The Change, Volume 20 book series, Insights to Self-Empowerment. And I have another book coming out called I Ain't Never Been Ordinary, which is my childhood memoir. So
You
thank you.
amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's a lot of hats. So you must be very busy, but they all sound very joyful. I just imagine like kids dance must just be like the happiest time of your day. Like,
It's happy when I'm with children.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's when, going to the recitals when my daughter was little and in dance, it's just they're so cute and they're trying and they're happy and nervous and excited and scared. It's all the things. But yeah, dance is great.
Absolutely.
And I love it still. So let's get into your story. Speaking of your memoir,
Okay.
and you can talk us through a little bit of your story. Tell us what was going on in your life when you were feeling suicidal.
When I was suicidal, Janet, I wasn't in, of course, the headspace that I'm in now.
Right.
I was a college student. I was attacked, not once, but twice. Yes.
Oh.
Once it was during freshman orientation, and I blamed myself for it. So I kind of pushed that to the back
Mhm.
of my mind. Like, if I don't think about it, then it's okay. I'll just move forward and act like nothing ever happened. Only person that noticed something that was going on was one of my big brothers from the fraternity, Kappa Sweetheart. People probably don't even know what that is anymore, but it was a little sister club from one of the fraternities
Okay.
at my college. Anyway, he noticed that I wasn't letting people hug me because I'm a hugger.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
he was the only one that noticed. And I swore there was nothing wrong. I was just stressed from class and this, that, and the other. And that's what started leading up to the thoughts
Mhm.
because I wouldn't release them. So I finally told him because he would not give up. He was like,
Good for
this
him.
not right. I'll never forget him. We call him Rainbow. That's his last name. It's really his last name, but we call him his first. We use his last name to call him by his first name. But I have to thank him for pulling that out of me. And even though I made him swear not to tell anyone, he was a great comfort at that time, just like a big brother would be.
Yeah.
Then after that happened, I went to school. I was doing well, home other than being homesick a lot because
Mhm.
I had been far away from home, but it was with family,
Right.
not college campus with all these people and all this stuff going on. The orientations are different now than they were back then. You were pretty much an adult and you were expected to just jump into the role of an adult
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
That's how it was back then in the mid to late 80s.
Yeah. You don't know anybody and everything's different, but you'll be fine.
Right. You'll be fine. And I wasn't an adult because I was 17
Right.
for my freshman orientation and
Mhm.
also when classes started. Classes started on my birthday. So I turned 18 and I was supposed to be an adult.
Mhm.
Anyway, I made it through the majority of that semester, came home, And a friend of mine, so I thought was a friend of mine, a family friend, had invited me to go to the movies. And I was like, nah, I'm studying. It was fall break. And he kept being very persistent about it. He was just like, come on, me and my parents are going. So I said, okay, well, all right, let me finish this up, whatever I was studying. Long story short, he and his dad came to pick me up. And he said, before we hopped in the car, as he was opening the door, he said, my parents, we got to go back and pick up my mom. So I said, oh, okay. So we go to the house. Now, unbeknownst to me, his dad had no idea. He had told me we were going to the movies. I also didn't know that this particular guy, I don't think even had a driver's license at the time. I didn't know that either.
Okay.
I also didn't know that he was setting me up, attack me and rape me.
Oh my God.
So because the reason why I trusted him, I knew him through his family and
Mhm.
his dad, his mom, I'm sorry, and my father worked together. They were police officers.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I didn't expect that.
No.
Well, I kept saying we went down in the basement. I thought nothing of it because his parents were home. I was in a safe place.
Yeah.
His mom's a cop, my dad's a cop. He knew my dad, you know, this is supposed to be someone that I could trust. Long story short, he kept drinking, and I didn't. He kept offering me beer, and I was like, I don't want any. I just want to go to the movie because that's what you
Mhm.
invited me over here for. I said, why don't you go see if your mom's ready? And then I want to tell people out there, when you sense something, don't think it's not the right thing you're sensing,
Trust your
and
gut.
trust your gut. And I kept feeling like something's not right here. I need to get out of here.
Mhm.
Something's going on here. And I don't know, but I don't want to be a part of it. Well, he came back down. He said, oh, you won't believe this. My mom's not feeling well. So we're not going to the movies. I said, well, then you need to take me home. And he said, well, just stay a little bit longer. Let me see what my dad wants to do. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to the movies with you and your dad. That doesn't even sound right.
That
Well,
doesn't sound fun. No.
right. So I got up, started listening to that gut feeling and walked towards the door. He wouldn't let me out. And he kept me there against my will. Now, I'm not going to go into any graphic details or anything
Sure.
like that because it's not necessary to tell the story. But after all of that happened, I blame myself instead of blaming the person who I should have put the blame on.
Mhm.
That's where when you hold all those things inside like that and you don't tell anyone, and you start looking inward too much and your thoughts keep focusing on those things and you don't talk to someone that you trust to get it out, to me that's where depression starts to stem from.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, and then those thoughts just kept building, 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 like a dam about to burst. And finally, when I couldn't hold it in any longer, that's when I thought, oh, well, if I take my life, I just won't have to deal with this anymore. And now thinking back, what? Are you crazy?
That doesn't make sense. That's
That
not an
doesn't make
option.
any sense because that's a permanent answer to a temporary problem.
Right.
And I look at all the things that I've been doing just in the past year, and I've gone through so much more. I've been on palliative care twice. I've survived COVID 4 times, all these things, and then books out and working with children. If I'd done that, none of that would have happened
Exactly.
over what someone else did to me that was out of my control. So
Exactly.
you've got to talk, you've got to tell somebody. Eventually, I did tell my father.
Okay.
And
Good.
because my dad had always had in the back of my head from saying it when I was little, if anybody ever put their hands on you against your will, I'll kill them. So I was like, I don't want my dad to go to jail. But dad's like, talk to him and made him promise, no matter what I say, you're just going to listen. You can help me, but you're not going to go overboard and do the extreme.
Right.
And he was like, I promise. And I had to keep asking him over and over until I felt assured that he wasn't. And he didn't. He wasn't going to
Right.
lose his career over it. Was he upset? Yes, because a dad would be upset about something like that.
Of
But
course.
he kept that between us. He did handle it by going to the young man's parents' house and he spoke to his mom and his dad. And I don't know what happened after that, but I know they apologized to my father for what had happened, especially in their own house while they were
Yeah.
home. Um, and I saw him later. And this is another thing why it's good to get help when you're going through that. And I did get counseling for a while after that
Good.
from a Dr. Richard Starr. He became almost like an uncle. He was that
Mhm.
warm and fuzzy type therapist. But I ran into this guy out with his girlfriend or wife, and it's like I had a PTSD moment for a second.
Of course. Yeah.
Thank God I had had the therapy to work through it. Also, my faith, knowing that, I don't want to kill anyone unless it was self defense. I ran into him and I was in the car
Oh.
and I sped up, and my girlfriend was with me. My girlfriend Tammy, she's an army, career army person. And she was like, I could hear her screaming, but it was like an outer body experience. Like, "Oh, what are you doing? Stop the car, stop the car." And I got right up on him really close, like close enough to have almost hit him
Oh my gosh.
and threw the brake on. And then it was like, whoa, 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 what did I just do? And he
Mhm.
looked up and saw me and he knew it was me. And he kind of tried to play it off. And I threw my hand up like, sorry. And then, but it was still something that was triggered, I guess, from that experience that I hadn't
Absolutely.
fully released at that time. I circled back around in the parking lot. Now my girlfriend doesn't know what is going on. She's like, what are you doing?" And I
Mhm.
pulled into space right beside him and his partner. And it was like I needed that for me just to see him face to face.
Yeah.
So he looks at me and I look at him and I don't say anything. I had the opportunity to roll the window down. The
Mhm.
thoughts went through my head like, you can say something, but I didn't need to, where I just finally let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. At
And
that
then,
point, he
yeah,
knew that
he
you
knew.
knew he was nothing.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
was not worth it. He was not worth me spending my life in jail. He was not worth me killing him over. And I let it go and forgave him. I didn't tell him I forgave him right then, but later I actually called him and told him I forgive you. I said I hope no one ever does that to your children. If you have any, I don't need to know. I said, but I forgive you so I can move on.
Mhm.
He's even a friend on Facebook.
Wow.
He sent a friend request. So what? Because I'm not that same person.
Right.
And if I say I forgave and I've forgiven, then I mean, and no, not everybody that I've forgiven who has wronged me, I've
You wanna keep that close
right,
around.
right. But we don't have any contact. No, I'm not calling him, inviting him to my family dinners or vacations or any special occasions or anything like that. But for me, that helped me be able to deal
Mhm.
with it and get over it. No, I'm not suicidal anymore.
Ama
Chapter in my life that is like, were you thinking you should have just told somebody? But you don't know, like they say, what you don't know.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
hope if someone's going through that and you're keeping it to yourself, please open your mouth and tell somebody.
Mhm.
Tell somebody.
Yeah.
Because the longer you hold that, the more it's going to affect you. Let it go.
Yeah.
You don't forgive for that person. The forgiveness is for you. And that might sound crazy, but it's true. When you forgive for you. So
Yeah.
you can move on with your life and not stay stuck in that.
Yeah, and not just constantly feeling that anger and resentment
Right.
and all of those things. Yeah, once you forgive, then you can let that go
Let
and
it
move
go and
on.
move on. Because the longer I held on to that, it was just building, building. It was like a pressure, like from a volcano building up,
Mhm,
and eventually I was going to explode one way or the other. And
mhm,
when it finally hit, from my thoughts just constantly thinking of that over and over, day in and day out, all that panic, all that anxiety, all of that, it was like, well, I'm hurting on the inside. Nobody knew, but so I thought, to keep from hurting, I'll hurt myself and just end it all. So
mhm.
I'm glad I didn't. Another big brother from another chapter of that same fraternity called. That had to be God. that had
Mm.
called me. I had taken all of these pills and I was out of it. And I vaguely remember, I remember him saying his name was Murphy. And he said, "You don't sound right." And I was like, "Ah, I'm fine." And I guess he could hear my voice and my speech.
Slurring and
He asked me for my address. I do remember that, and I barely got it out, and he sent an ambulance to my house. I don't know how he called. I guess he had my house number because everybody had house phones back then.
yeah.
I vaguely remember, but I think he called my house and told my family, "You all need to go upstairs and check on her." And
Wow.
thank God they were able to get that out of my stomach.
That is some divine timing.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Divine
suicide,
intervention.
yeah. Divine intervention, suicide is not the answer ever,
No.
ever. I don't care what it is.
No,
Talk to
it's
somebody.
just a brain glitch
It is. It
where
is.
we're
I'm like,
like,
"What
yeah,
in the world
this
was I
seems to
thinking?"
make sense that
Mhm.
and like you said, and so many other guests have said the same thing. Like we just want to end the pain and we just want to end the situation that we're in. We don't
That's right.
really want to end everything,
No.
but it's just the pain is so much that
Mhm.
we just yeah, we're just like, "I want it to end, I can't think of anything else." And we can't think of anything else either because we're overwhelmed and we're exhausted from struggling so much and from feeling so much all the time and not having any rest or peace or time to recover. And sometimes that's just us, with it going over and over and over the situation in our heads. We do it to
Right.
ourselves. But sometimes it's external situations that just get piled up on us that we have no control over. But
You're
we also don't get to rest as much as we need to. But again, when we talk to people, they can help, whether
right.
it's just to relieve our own selves to get those feelings out so we can stop thinking about them and stop feeling them, or so people can actually do something. If you do need to rest or you need a break from feeling everything, sometimes other people can come in, they can watch your kids, they can make you a meal, they
Right.
can clean your house for you. Like people will do things or arrange for those things to happen if they're far away.
They will.
There's so much support out there if we allow it. And we
Absolutely.
don't do ourselves any favors by I can do it all myself,
Mhm.
I'm strong and cuz we're not supposed to be single human beings without
No.
support networks. We
You
are
don't have to be strong
community
all the time.
individuals.
Right. We're community, and you don't have to be strong all the time.
Mhm.
Nobody's strong all the time unless you're some superhero with the cape on.
Right.
We all need each other.
Mhm.
We all need help at some point. We all go through things. Life is
Mhm.
sometimes like a roller coaster. There's highs and lows. There's peaks and valleys. You just speak to somebody. If you
Mhm.
can't share it with your best friend, if you don't have a best friend, talk to your dog. Talk to somebody. Get it out. Your
Dogs
dogs
are
are
great
judgmental.
listeners.
Yeah, dogs and cats,
They are.
they're non-judgmental. They will sit there and listen to you all day long.
Mm.
Even to know when something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
they
know,
do. They
so
do. Counseling and you had these big adopted big brothers who
mhm.
weren't really your brothers but took that on for themselves. Um what else did you and you obviously you talked to your dad and you resolved that situation. And then what did you do to just, keep that going?
It was a process, and I don't want somebody to think, "Wow, she did that," and then once she did that, poof, everything was fine.
Mhm,
No, it was a process. It was the counseling, it was the therapy, it was talking in detail to the therapist and knowing that he wasn't judging me, he was just trying to help me work through that trauma.
mhm.
Also, prolonged mine some, Janet, was the guy, he stopped for a moment, but he started stalking also.
Oh.
So it was like 2 steps forward, 1 step back because he
Mhm,
was trying to keep himself looking good out in the community with people who had gone to school with us. We were out of high school, but people pretty much still remained in the same area.
yeah.
So thought if he threatened me, and stalked me. Even I don't know how he got my number to my dorm room. So I was like, well, I'm going back to school, so it'll be fine once I get back. And then
Right.
he started calling. And back then there was no caller ID on your school on your college phone. You just picked up the phone in the room, and
Yeah.
he was on the other end, was on the other end. So I finally had to stand up to him, not just in that parking lot, not just allowing him to be one of my Facebook friends many years later, but I had to say, if you call me again, I'm going to call the police.
Good for you.
Leave me alone. I needed that too, to empower
Yeah.
myself to know that I wasn't going to keep allowing him to make me feel like a victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was strong. I was stronger than that at that time. And
Yeah.
I could say I had the choice to tell him how I felt. Leave me
Mhm.
alone. I don't want to be bothered with you. You need to get help for yourself
Absolutely. Yes.
because there's something wrong with you. It wasn't, I knew then it wasn't me anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't have that guilt of what if I had done this? What if I had done that? And the thing, even though my faith got me through, what had me keep it in for so long, other than what I said about being afraid that my dad was going to do something drastic, was that it was right before I had come home for fall break. I had given my life to Christ at campus service. So it was like, how could this happen if I gave my life to Christ? But I didn't know, again, at the time, I was much younger. I didn't know. I was still a baby in my faith,
Mhm.
that that wasn't because of me or anything that I did.
Right. Yeah.
It was because of the decision he had made up in his mind to do.
Right.
So it's a process. It just
Yeah.
step by step. Every time I moved one step forward, I got stronger. Every time I made sure I didn't call Dr. Starr and go, you know what, I'm not coming today. That wasn't helping me. And when I went and really did the work on myself and released that trauma, I noticed how I was feeling better and I was getting out more and I was back going to the parties and having fun with my friends. And even Rainbow, that big brother that noticed from the first time, I was able to share that with him, what happened the second time, and not fall apart like I did,
Yeah.
after the first time. And I understood, what the date rape was and all of that, and just tried to educate other people about it.
Mhm.
So they would know, okay, if go to a party or if somebody invites you to this, that, and the other, these are some of the signs you might want to look out for.
Mhm. What
Not that you
like what?
always
What are
have
the
to.
signs?
First of all, freshman orientation or any party, if your girlfriend goes with you, your girlfriend stays with you,
Mhm.
whether you're going to the bathroom, and I still do this now as an adult, whether you're going to the bathroom or wherever. If it's only a single bathroom, you say, hey, I'm going to the ladies' room. I'll be right back. That way somebody knows where you are. If you come together, you leave together.
Yep.
Whether it's in a car where you drove together, or if you drove separately, you leave together. Even at
Mhm.
55 years old, when I hang out with my girlfriend Dee Dee, who's like my little sister, if I leave or we're looking at the time, she leaves. If she's
Mhm.
ready to leave, I leave.
Yep.
That's important. If you feel something in your gut is not right with a guy or girl or whatever,
Mm.
whomever you're out with, male or female, because it can happen either way.
Yeah.
Usually, you're not wrong. Meet in a neutral location if you're meeting somebody for the first time and you don't really know a lot about this person. Keep yourself safe, whether they like it or not. And then if they don't like it and they're getting a little irritated by what will make you feel safe, that's usually a sign to just
That
cancel altogether.
absolutely. You don't need to be with anybody who doesn't make you feel safe.
No, protect yourself.
Yeah.
Protect yourself above all else.
And that can be, not just physically safe, but also emotionally safe, mentally safe. If they say things that make you get your guard up or whatever, like that's all just red flags.
Believe them the first time.
Yes.
Don't take that red flag and try to clean it up and make it white. It is what it is. If it's a red flag, believe it, let it go, and move forward. is on a different frequency and you don't need to be there with them. Don't let them pull you down to it.
Exactly.
Vibrate high and move forward. They're not
Yes,
meant to be there in your life.
absolutely. Anything else?
Anything else? If you, I don't know the number to the suicide hotline, but I know there's an 800 number.
988, you can call or text.
Thank you, Janet, for sharing that. Call, text, just know that, just please, I'm going to look directly into the camera. It's not, it's a permanent solution. Do not allow yourself to fall for that. To me, with my faith, I call it a trick of the enemy or a trick of your mind.
Mhm,
Do not allow that to happen to you. You will get through it. You can get over it. Talk to someone. Call the number, call the hotline. It's open 24 hours. But
mhm,
please, 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 there's so much more ahead of you for your future. Nothing is that bad that you have to end your life
mhm.
because
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, life gets hard,
mhm,
and it sucks sometimes, but
yes,
there are so many other moments that and moments that, like, things are gonna happen that you don't even know are gonna happen. Like, you can't even imagine the good stuff that's gonna happen.
yes,
And obviously your brain doesn't let you do that when you're feeling that way either. But, that's why we share these stories is that is proof that it gets better. You just
it does
gotta
get better.
make it through, get some support, and and you'll get there. Just like we did, just like me and Carla.
That's right. You can get there. Believe us. You will have a
Mhm.
smile on your face. You might not smile now. Every day might not be a great day, but there's
Yep.
something great in every day.
I love that. Yes.
So
Yes. Can you say that again?
every day may not be a great day, but there is definitely something great in every day.
Yes. Love that. Love that. I feel like I should have that on a poster somewhere.
I didn't come up with it. I think somebody says every day is not a good day, but I say great. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I lived in this is a weird little tangent. I lived in Indonesia for a few years. And, in North America, when somebody says, "How are you?" we say fine, right? We're fine, which is really not a very high standard.
no.
So in Indonesia, when somebody asks you, "How are you?" On most of there's like 17,000 islands. So I lived on Java, which is the biggest one. People say, "How are you?" You say, "Good." Good is your answer. And they are generally a happy people. But when you're in Bali, which is another island and the one where everybody goes on vacation and it's like a super happy place, when you ask somebody how they are, they say great. Like, that is the baseline, the standard answer, "I'm great." Like, imagine if we just all walked around saying that. Somebody's like, "How are you?" "I'm great."
Yeah.
Like,
Text me, that's what I say. I'm great.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Even if I feel horrible, it's better to say I'm great because you can get to that point that day.
yeah,
I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm horrible, I'm this, I'm that," because you are what you say, and it
exactly,
starts.
exactly. So look for those great moments. Do the little things like saying, even "I'm good" is better than "I'm fine." "I'm good, I'm great, I'm fantastic," you
Keep
know?
saying it until you believe it, until
Exactly.
you are. It will manifest.
It's all those little things that help us crawl out of the hole, one step at a time.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you so much, Carla, for being here today and sharing your story, sharing your experiences, and being out there for people and supporting them. I really appreciate you being here.
You're welcome. I thank you for the opportunity. It was great.
Thank you for listening. Remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you are valuable, you are meant for more, and that it really does get better. If you are in crisis, there are numbers that you can call or text to get the help that you need. That information for Canada and the US is in the description below each episode. If you are in immediate crisis, please call 911. We love you, and I hope you'll listen again.